Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast on Game 3 in this series between Diestar and Goody here on Shattered Temple. So far, Goody has really been playing a really strong matchup after favoring and really opening up with a lot of mech play. Game 1 really went down to mech. Game 2, Diestar was not ready for a Banshee harassment. We'll see if Diestar will be able to get back in this game. Perhaps he knows to expect that Banshee harassment a little bit more, as it does normally happen sometime around the 8-minute mark. Engineering Bay was late, no missile turrets, and not enough scanner sweep to really deal with it. Now, Diestar in this matchup so far, building up a supply depot, both players pretty much opening up with similar builds, and we'll see if Goody once again goes for that early gas. Early gas normally means that he is trying the tech, and normally if Terran players do go for one gas, it is mainly bio play, but two gas would indicate that it is going to be a much more mech heavy or mechanical and air unit heavy strategy. Yeah. As this game does go on, we do see a barracks being placed down by both Diestar and Goody. Both players opting to not go gas first, which is a rather aggressive build. Diestar most likely will be training up a Marine at the very start. We should probably see the same thing from Goody, and I would really like to see how Diestar is going to respond. Goody has been opening up with different strategies pretty in the past two games, so if he does perhaps pull a new rabbit out of his hat, he may catch Diestar once again out of position or in an awkward location, as the SCVs are going to pass each other and pretty much find out where each other is not. Barracks are now completed. Both players do have refineries done. SCVs are being trained. It looks like Goody is opting to go for another SCV before upgrading to an orbital command. So Goody is going to delay his orbital command by just a little bit, but then have an additional SCV mining for the 50 or the 35 seconds that it does take to in order to upgrade an orbital command. SCVs are going to be passing each other here. Marine is now going to make his way down. Is it going to attack in time to shoot down this SCV? No, not in time at all, as the SCV slips by, and now Goody unable to see what his opponent is doing. So Goody, Diestar pretty much has all the information he needs, while Goody is pretty much going to be playing in the dark. The SCV does get taken down, as this SCV now is going to run all the way home. Oh no, it's going to activate the Zelnaga tower and then realize a Marine is chasing him, and now he needs to run away once more. Two Marines on the high ground. We can see that Diestar is opting to go for a second refinery, so it looks like he is going to be the one who wants to try some Banshee harassment. There is a factory down over here, Tech Lab, Starport. Banshee harassment may be coming into play. We'll see if Goody does scout this out, as Goody doesn't know what's going on. We can see that Goody is getting a refinery of his own, so with a refinery of his own, we may have Banshees pass each other in the night. A Starport now being placed down, and we'll see how this is all going to work out, as Goody is currently sitting on or building up a starport. He needs to get up another supply depot at a tech lab. Down over here, you can see that the starport does have a slight advantage, 23 seconds over 17, so a very slight difference in terms of the starport construction, but it's going to be a much better a gas situation for Diestar, as he does have about a 60 gas advantage, so that is going to be part of that advantage as well. Diestar now going to lift off, land. The cloaking research should be started, followed by the training of that Banshee, and we'll see what happens here in just a moment, as the Banshee will begin training right now. We can see that the starport is already completed down over here, but because of the supply blocking on Goody, Goody wanted to train up a Hellion before he added that tech lab, and that is actually causing a little bit more of a situation. Goody needs to swap these buildings if he is going for those Banshees. Otherwise, right now, he's just banking a lot of gas, getting up to 300 now. He will be able to train that up, but he does have about a 30-second disadvantage. No, going for a Raven. Oh, so Goody pretty much going for a Raven, and then Cadosis reactor. Is he going for he's going for the energy upgrades? Okay, no, he is not going to go for the medevac upgrades. Yeah, that would be a really strange upgrade, something that you do not normally see, but that Raven is going to cause problems, And I think that was a mind game. I think as the scanner sweep went down, he purposely started training something that was relatively inexpensive that he knew he could start, and it looked like a Banshee with Cloak. So it is going to now tip Diestar. Diestar falling into this trap here, getting up an engineering bay, as we now see a command center being built off over here and a command center being built off over here. So Goody going to set up a trap, and it looks like Diestar may fall for it hook, line, and sinker as the Banshee now comes in. So the Banshee gonna get in some easy kills already up to 3 kills. And now, but a Raven's going to make its way over. The Banshee is so far getting in a lot of kills, and now that with a Raven there, the Banshee is pretty much neutralized. Is it going to be able to drop the auto turret in time? Yes, there is an auto turret there to start shooting at it. Another SCV is going to get taken down. The Diestar already has 7 kills on that Banshee, so it was somewhat worth it. As it looks like, is there another Banshee in the air? Yes, a second Banshee has taken to the skies. It looks like it will be hiding itself, though. Harvester kill count, 5 workers killed compared to 1. Was that enough to really do anything? 29 workers compared to 28. 13 Marines, 1 Banshee compared to 8 or 9 Marines, 1 Raven, siege tanks, and Vikings. So this Banshee is not going to have a very good day at all. There's a Hellion at the natural expansion as well. Meanwhile, this orbital command is about to be completed. It should be landing off down over here in just a moment, as Goody now going into his traditional double factory, perhaps getting even more mech units in just a little while longer. There is another factory there, so yes, we are already up to, we will be having 3 factories as Marines and siege tanks in the center. 30 harvesters compared to 32. Mules are now being called into play. Diestar didn't upgrade that to an orbital command, interestingly enough. So this is not an orbital command just quite yet. SCVs are being transferred to the SCVs are being transferred to the main base or the natural expansion now, as it looks like Diestar knows that he needs to take up another expansion and win this game somehow economically. The rocks will fall pretty quickly. The Marines just shooting at it. 2 of the Marines apparently don't know how to push their brothers forward in order to get within combat range. Those rocks do fall, and we'll see how Diestar is going to respond and what he has in store for us in the middle portion of this matchup. A Hellion from Goody now taking control of the center Xel'Naga tower there, as we now see that this Banshee pretty much took a little bit of damage without really getting any kills. The missile turret was down. The Viking now on the hunt. The Banshee just going to go, you know what? I'm just going to take back this Xel'Naga tower and deny it from you anyways. Marines and siege tanks now looking to destroy another set of rocks over here. But for some reason, this tank not engaging, even though it does have the range. And now, what is this Banshee going to do? The Banshee's going to sit there and simply lose energy. No, going after Marines. One Marine now down. A second Marine may get taken down. Yes, another Marine getting taken down. And the Ravens are not there. No, the Ravens finally show up. The Raven just a little bit slower, so it is unable to keep track and keep sight of that Banshee. That Banshee should be returning home now. And if that Banshee is able to return home, it should be able to get repaired and perhaps be added to the final attack force. Banshees are one of those units where it is just simply very effective. If you have Terran bio, what I found is that adding in some Vikings and some Banshees are so effective, as most of the time the Marines and the Marauders just can't deal with those siege tanks at all. But if you have perhaps 5 to 7 Banshees and then a dozen Vikings, which normally does happen as you do have Viking wars, you can break a Terran siege line rather quickly. Marines over here. Oh, and the siege tank just completely destroying that one Hellion there. But we now see Goody in a very defensive posture. Somehow, though, Diestar is not taking this opportunity to expand. He's floating on 500, 600 minerals right now. He is training up a lot of units, but nothing off of this factory. He needs to get up on top of his macro. He is currently supply blocked. Now finally getting double supply depots. And at some point, he needs to build up another command center. He does have the minerals. And there you go. Diestar starting up his 3rd base. But Goody already with his 3rd orbital command up and running. And he's going to be able to lift it off and land it. Once again, Hellions try to run in. And the Vikings are going to be able to shoot down these medevacs rather quickly. The siege tank off over here, just simply slowly destroying this position. It looks like the siege tanks, the Marines, and the Marauders are going to destroy these rocks off over here. The Marines need to perhaps push their way forward just a little bit more and then do a counter push from the top side. It looks as though, yes, Goody is still opening up that back door for him, and that is going to turn out to be a bit of an issue as Hellions are now going to try to make a run for it. The Hellions do see and are going to be able to take down that SCV there, so the Marines and the Marauders are going after the units there. A siege tank being added, and it looks like the Marine may fall, but all those Hellions are going to be destroyed, but it still does delay this command center here. Now, what is happening? The siege tanks are going to siege here, and yes, this is going to be very, very bad news completely, as Goody may end up losing this orbital command. No, it is not going to lose it at all, as the orbital command is now backing off, and the units are going to be once again in full retreat. Not quite sure why there was a stim. Once more, the siege tanks do need a siege. No, they don't want to engage for some reason. They had the proper position, but the Vikings of Goody are really going to destroy the medevacs. And without the medevacs, this Terran bio army is not that strong. Both sides are once again going to siege. No, the sides are not sieging up any longer, as the units are once more in full retreat. Siege tanks, however, getting caught in transit by Goody. So Goody just really once again hurting as those units came down in from the north. Vikings and Ravens still in the air, as they are, well, I guess a Viking could technically be on the ground, as the siege tanks are now once again in that defensive posture. Goody now being forced to take better map control, and we'll see how all of this will work out, as a Banshee from Goody now finally making its rounds, and it's going to perhaps be able to deal some damage. You can see that there's one Banshee down to 10 hit points here. For some reason, it has not been utilized. There's a Marauder off over here, and then a very large force over here. So how is Diestar going to execute this? Is he going to push all in the same location, or is he going to try and come back from somewhere else, pushing in all in one location for a very, very strong attack? And as we do see that Goody's army is pretty much spread across both entrances of his base. Hellions are now once again making another push, another run, and what is going to happen? Those Hellions were not really doing much of anything, as this one missile turret needs to get taken down. Not going to be, oh, it does take down a medevac, so that was a bit of an issue there, as we now see an engagement. Marines and Marauders are now all fighting it up. The Marines and the Marauders are, with a faster movement speed, are able to push around. The Vikings just taking down all the medevacs though, so, and now a point defense drone intercepting the Marauders' concussive shells. The siege tanks now blasting away once more, and the point defense drones really just causing problems, and Diestar trying to do a drop, trying to be smart about this, trying to attack where his opponent is not. All of a sudden, didn't account for a point defense drone and one missile turret. If he had taken down that missile turret, perhaps it would have been a little bit better news, as we can see that these siege tanks are still off over here, unable to do much of anything. Now, Diestar needs to be careful as soon as he loses this high ground position and the site. He needs to pull back, otherwise he is going to end up losing a lot. Taking a look at the losses, Goody did end up losing a bit more in the engagement, but he does also have a much stronger economy. 68 harvesters compared to 50. The SCVs, for some reason, are finally once again beginning to repair, as both sides are now going to try to recuperate and get back those losses. Oh, siege tanks, we're going to have an engagement in the center. Hellions, Marines, Marauders, no Marines to really shoot down any of the Vikings. And what happened here? Simply Goody now running off of a lot of siege tanks. Up to 15 siege tanks here will be able to destroy these rocks and take another base in just a matter of seconds. And Goody is now going very heavy into 6, count them, 6 factories. Diestar still moving around the map with Marines and Marauders. The medevacs are trailing up the rest. And now, are we going to have this engagement? Both sides are going to siege. The Marauders need to get out of there. The siege tank count for Goody is simply too high, as both sides are engaging. Only 4 siege tanks, only 1 siege tank left. And that siege tank is going to have a very bad day, as I think Goody's siege tank numbers are simply too strong. 15 siege tanks now. Diestar and Goody all now just retreating once more, as Thors are now finally being added. And in this war of attrition, Goody is just taking advantage of the situation, as he does have an additional base on his opponent, as the main bases are now nearly mined out. You can see that Marauders and Marines are still off over here. There is a Banshee off over here. More Vikings are still being trained. the Viking count is really what is hurting Diestar. Diestar, without a way to take control of the skies, now trying to use medevacs and do multiple drops. But even though that these tanks are not very, very mobile units, they are still very destructive with a surprising range. And now in comes the drop, but Goody does have a couple units over here, or a couple units that he can get back up onto the high ground. One Viking now making its way in. The Marines are going to quickly shoot down this over here, and now Goody going to end up losing a couple of these buildings with the siege tanks already in transit up. It looks like one factory may get taken down. The Hellions absorbing a lot of damage there, as the Marauders really can't do all too much against them, as siege tanks are coming in to reinforce. And once again, Diestar now actually losing more units than his opponent. Goody still with a Banshee up on the top left-hand side of the map, knows what is happening, and now we're going to have an engagement, perhaps trying to do a bit of a pincer attack, taking down all of the siege tanks in the center. The siege tanks are coming back to reinforce. One siege tank in this group. What is going to happen as the Marauders and the Marines try to take down the siege tanks here? They are going to be forced to retreat, as the Hellions and the Marines, this Thor is going to be able to take down the siege tanks very quickly. There it goes. And now Diestar, although he was able to clear up some of the siege tanks, was unable to destroy the orbital command. And now with 10 mules on 6 mineral patches, Goody is going to get an amazing amount of additional resources, especially on these gold. So the gold mineral patches now being mined out very, very quickly. Army compositions, Goody is in a better situation. Mineral count, Goody is in a better situation as well. He didn't lose any of his production buildings in any of the attacks, so he is not slowing down whatsoever. Hellions are upgraded 1-1, soon to be 2-1, as the Thors have really just put a damper on any of the attacks that Diestar has wanted to do. Marauders and Marines now trying to run in along the backside. There is a command center over here. There's not much over here. This place has pretty much been open for attack every time. Hellions are now trying to come in. The Marauders going after SCVs. SCVs are getting taken down slowly but surely, as we now see also Hellions attempting to take down this command center right before it is completed. Marauders now making their way over, finishing up those Hellions there, but an SCV does need to join in on that fight. Marauders and Marines still off over here. It looks like the Marauders have completely been destroyed here. There are a fair number of siege tanks still. Goody getting back up to 12 siege tanks, and the Marauders with 2-1 upgrades have not been able to really bust open this siege line here. Goody now attempting to take up another base, and with 5 orbital commands will be able to mine away rather easily and quickly. It looks like some SCVs should be in transit. No SCVs in transit. Where are the SCVs of Goody? Are they oversaturated in any particular location? Not quite sure, but anyways, let's look at the main battle here. Siege tanks now in siege, or trying to get into siege mode. It does take 3 seconds, as the Marauders and the Marines now forced to retreat once more, and that siege tank line is just going to continue to move forward and forward. Diestar has now left the game after losing 3 straight games to Goody. So Goody just having Diestar's number and being able to completely destroy Diestar in this best of 5 series with 3 straight games. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope to see you guys on Battle.net.